IVM.
Hey, if you like this show, then you should definitely check out another show on the IVM podcast network called Paisa Vaisa. It's a show hosted by Anupam Gupta that will clear all your personal finance doubts, from mutual funds to loans to SIPs. New episodes are out every Monday.
Alright guys, hi, welcome to another episode of IVM Likes. And today in the studio, I have with me, it is a beautiful Pavitra.
Oh, wow, Yay!
That's right. A beautiful Abbas.
Thanks, Surbhi. I was waiting for someone to say, call me beautiful today.
There was a long pause before you said a beautiful Abbas? Question mark? I'm not too sure.
No, I'll give it to Abbas. You're beautiful.
You're gorgeous.
Thanks. You guys are not bad either.
Thanks.
Okay. Alright guys, Pavitra and Abbas, today we're going to recommend some things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but most importantly, in the second hour, we're going to discuss Daniel Sloss.
So excited.
Jigsaw. Oh my
Can
God.
we get to the second part already?
Oh God. Yeah, I remember recommending it to you last week and you watched it instantly.
Instantly.
So it just made sense to have you also and like talk about it today.
For those who don't know, Daniel Sloss is a comedian and
Yeah.
he did a stand-up special called Jigsaw,
And Dark.
which is on
And Dark,
Netflix.
On Netflix.
Just
So,
a little info. I'm the info button of this episode.
You
Click on
you have
Abbas
this-
for information. He's the eye.
You know how you have that function on Kindle, if you don't understand a word, you like press it a little longer.
That's you, Abbas.
That's you,
Yeah,
Abbas.
please press me a little longer, guys, because I'm beautiful.
But that's second half. The first half, we're going to recommend some stuff. Let's
Sure.
see who I want to start with. Is it the beautiful Pavitra? Okay, go first.
Yeah, so this is a movie I saw long back, so I don't really remember much, but I remember liking it. I don't remember liking it a lot, but
You just watch it.
but I liked it like it's in sufficient amounts, and I feel it should be watched because it's called Celeste and Jesse Forever,
Ooh.
or Jesse and Celeste Forever.
Google both, guys. Google both.
info button. Calling for
Info
help.
button is going to the actual info of Google.
Yeah, so this movie has Andy Samberg and Rashida Jones.
Jones.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Best people.
Yeah, Surbhi's best friends. We met last week at a place. We're chilling over like a glass of wine and all of that. And they were just like, Pavi, please recommend our movie. Nobody's been watching it. So,
You also think it's not great. I guess, honestly.
true friends are always honest to their friends. So, yeah, but it's a nice movie because it's very real.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're just not comfortable with real formats, I think. Like, we're very used to being pleased and we really want closure on behalf of other people in a movie.
yeah.
So I feel that because of that, I didn't enjoy it, but I was able to identify why I didn't enjoy it, but that doesn't make the movie a bad movie. So, which is why I want to see if everyone else has similar thoughts or is it just me?
You know, I would watch this movie. This sounds like the tamasha of like Hollywood.
Oh my God, now you made me lose interest in this. Wow.
Okay, Tamasha was a good movie, but people had very different opinions
Yeah.
on it.
This is Surbhi who also thinks, what was that Priyanka Chopra Ranveer Kapoor film?
Anjana.
Anjani was a good film, and
It
Bunty,
was a good
Never
movie.
seen
and
You should
she
watch
thinks
it.
Bunty or Bubbly is a classic. So
Bundy or Bubbly was
It's a
fine.
classic.
Oh
I'm
my
sorry, I'm an
God.
Abhishek Bachchan fan. I just like whatever filthy
I'm
puts
sorry, I
stuck
take back calling you beautiful. You're very judgmental.
not judgmental. My tastes are good.
Alright, cool.
Yeah,
But yeah, what's this movie about?
yeah, so
What's
the movie
basic plot?
is that both of them are like high school sweethearts, and then they get married really young. Okay, so and everything's going fine, but then obviously they grow up and they realize that there's stuff to do, like a job to go to and money to make and everything. And Rashida's very ambitious, and Andy's very like laid back, and he's just like, chill, we got this. We'll do stuff. I'm figuring myself out. Pretty much the phase of life I am in right now. So I relate to Andy, but. So all of that happened, and that's when Rashida thinks that, I don't think this is going to work out. and so they kind of like break up. But I don't know if I'm giving away the entire story, but
don't spoil it. But when you say break up, they're married, right? So they divorce.
Yeah, they're
separate.
they're going to, so like there's
some tension.
There is some tension. That's the conflict basically, where then both of them have their up and down phase, but to identify the love between them after so many years is the romantic love or the friendship and I really depend on you kind of love. That is the journey of the movie. And them finding other people.
So there is no closure, is it? Like, do they?
There is some kind of closure, but
like it
maybe
doesn't
with like other people or with each other, I don't know, I won't tell you.
Okay.
So yeah,
hey man, is it on Netflix?
It is on Netflix.
Oh nice, it's a good time to watch this movie.
Yeah, it is. It's nice.
Moving on to Abbas. Abbas, what have you been watching?
I am also recommending a movie, but a slightly serious-ish one.
Ooh.
It's called Carol. The movie came out in 2015. It stars Rooney Mara and Kate Blanchett, and it's directed by Todd Haynes, who's a very renowned director. So the film is set in the 1950s, and it deals with this lesbian love affair between these two characters. Kate Blanchett's character is called Carol, and she's this very upper class rich wife who's married to a very successful businessman, and Rooney Mara is a struggling young girl who's working at a toy store. And the film starts when Kate Blanchett's character Carol walks into the toy store to buy a Christmas present for her son, for her children, right? And they see each other and kind of sparks fly. So the movie is actually based on a very famous novel which is called The Price of Salt, written by Patricia Highsmith, and the novel itself was written in the 50s or 60s, I think. So it essentially deals with how difficult it was for same-sex couples even to express or even to hint that you're showing affection towards another person of the same sex, which is not which didn't fall under the traditional idea of friendship, was very hard. But it also sort of it kind of plays off this very young girl and this. So in Carol, who is like the older woman, you see, even for the 50s, you're like, she could have been someone else had she been given the freedom to love whoever she wants. And then now Rooney Mara's character is in that phase where she's still blooming. So it explores the marriage that Carol is in, and so her husband is played by Kyle Chandler, who you've seen in many other movies, and he's this very kind of a very arrogant kind of a husband, and so he has gotten an idea that his wife is not completely straight. That she has there are some hints that she has had affairs with women before as well. And they're planning to divorce, but it's that male ego that he doesn't want to let her go, because it's his ego that like, I married this woman, so she belongs to me. And the other is like, how dare she love a woman when a man is around, that kind of whole thing going on. And
hate him already.
This whole dilemma of now Carol, she's married and she also has children, right? So just because she's not straight doesn't mean that she is not a wholesome wife or a wholesome person. Like, she still loves her kids. She's still, despite the fact that her husband is an asshole, she's still kind of looking after him. So at one point in the movie, Carol and this other girl, Rooney Mara's character, they decide they want to. So Rooney Mara is also struggling to make it in the big city, So they decide that, screw all this, we'll just get into a car and we'll just go cross-country across America. And at this point, Rooney Mara's character also has a boyfriend. And even he's trying to come to terms with the fact that, how can you, go along with a girl? What's going on between you two? So they just shun their responsibilities and they go across a trip across America. And the middle part of the movie kind of plays with this idea that they're enjoying themselves because they're first time completely free of all these things, but then they can never really let go of the past because the husband is still sending spies to see where the wife is going. They're still they're still dealing with their own insecurities of should we be who we are. And then of course the film builds up to a climax which I won't give away, but it's set in the 50s. It's shot very beautifully, the costumes, the photography. cinematography is very like you almost want to just go, even though it's dealing with how regressive the society was in the 50s, you almost want to go live there because it's so beautifully represented. But yeah, check this movie out. And Patricia Highsmith herself was known to be someone who was ahead of her time because she wrote this novel in the 50s, and she actually wrote this novel while she was waiting for another novel of hers to be published. So it's a very heartfelt film. It's a very nice film. It is on Netflix, so do check it out. If not for the story, at least for just how gorgeous the movie looks. It's very nice.
Wow, all these both the movies are on Netflix, which is great. You don't have to like F movies it.
Carol was actually nominated for a bunch of Academy Awards, but it was omitted from the Best Picture category, which gave rise to some controversy because it's LGBT themed, they don't want to put it in the Best Picture.
Wait, how old is this? 2015?
2015, yeah.
Okay, not bad. Awesome. So that was Abbas recommending Carol. So thank you, Abbas.
No problem.
Yeah. And so, okay, over the weekend I watched a bunch of Netflix. And I was kind of like...
It's almost like it's a Netflix special. Everything is on Netflix.
It is on Netflix, but it's nice because you can just sit and like watch all three of these things.
Yeah.
But I watched Walks Explained is a new series on Netflix. Okay. Yeah, so it's like the Walks version on the YouTube thing, but now it's like 15-minute long. Yeah, and it's super
15
detailed.
to 20 minutes.
Long. And it's really nice. So I specifically watched the episode on monogamy. And and I watched it. You know what was super weird? Because I watched it super close to like Daniel Sloss's Jigsaw. And I was, for 2 days straight, I was like, relationships are bullshit. I don't like it. I'm a free bird. I'm emotionally independent. It took me just 2 days, and then I was back. I was like, gotta reply back to people. But I don't know. I mean, it was super, again, you know how Vox does their these explain series is great already. But like this particular episode of monogamy was super informative, dude. Like basically, they also had like a bunch of people they interviewed a bunch of people during the series where they were like, people who were strictly like, no, I'm against this idea. I believe once you get married to one person, that is your soulmate. And they also interviewed a arranged Indian couple, like a super old Indian couple also. So again, like they showed basically how different their ideas are. Like if you talk to one person from one region and like another person who's like curious. And they also had a lot of experts who spoke about how humans, like if you look back to our ancestors, we're very close to like a certain kind of a species of monkeys called bonobos. And bonobos they're famous for having a lot of sex. Yeah. So the whole idea was...
You mean the one in Bandra? Oh no. There's a bonobo in Bandra as well.
Wow.
That's a bad joke, guys. Sorry, let's just move on. Continue.
Yeah, but and also like there was this whole thing about some of the tribes do not they don't have this concept of marriage. Like if I'm married to one person, I'm only allowed to have sex with one person. Like the whole idea is if I'm getting married to, if I basically impregnate a woman, I will take care of this child no matter. And it's not like you married to this person. You just have to take care of this child as a part of your society. Because like he's a child now. You don't have to be like, the other child is crying, but he's not my child, so I'm not going to touch him. So you as that society, like that tribal society, just looks at children as like everybody has to nurture them, no matter who's the parent.
Okay.
So it was pretty nice, and like it. You guys should watch it.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool series. Some other episodes I'll recommend is they did a explained episode on K-pop,
K-pop,
which is quite nice.
Yeah. I've always been super intrigued by K-pop.
Exactly,
K-pop, sorry,
Korean pop.
The whole BTS
Korean
thing.
pop. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Pavitra has no idea what BTS is. Do you follow Supriya Joshi on Instagram?
I do, but...
Yeah, that's all she posts about, almost exclusively.
Really. But we also recommending Supriya Joshi as a person on this podcast. You should follow her.
And the other episode they did is a good one was on political correctness. So check those out as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Political
But K-pop
Yes.
is super strange, dude. Like the kind of things they do. Like there's another episode on NPR about K-pop. Like Radiolab has this thing.
Yeah, and even Vice did an article about K-pop.
Yeah, K-pop is just becoming
it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Except just I haven't clicked on those links. I've just seen those links and I've just not been tempted to click. So now that you've recommended it.
But you know what's like? I'm only interested in the gossip part of it. I'm like, oh, so they're not allowed to do all of that. Oh, apparently they're not allowed to be in a relationship. There's like a full contract scene.
Yeah.
So like I'm never like super into like I'll listen to the music kind of thing. I'm always like, give me the drama. Give me the gossip behind
It's happening
all
in their
this.
lives that is inspiring their art. I don't want to see or hear the art.
Don't know.
Just want to know what caused the art.
Take over the art. Yeah, but that was Vox Explains Monogamy, and so you should check it out. It's on Netflix, and
It's also on YouTube, by the way, that episode.
yeah. Oh yeah,
Vox
maybe
put
that's
it
the
out
first
because
one.
they wanted
yeah.
to promote it. Yeah.
But check it out on Netflix if you want.
Yeah,
on
because you're
Netflix.
anyways going to be on
On
Netflix,
Netflix, watching our
Abbas and my recommendations.
All right, in the second half, we are discussing Daniel Sloss's new special called Jigsaw. Quick recap: Pavitra recommended.
Celeste and Jesse Forever.
I
Abbas.
recommended the film Carol.
I recommended Vox Explains Monogamy, and we'll be right back.
Hey everybody, welcome to another week on IVM Podcast. If you are not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Also, I wanted to ask everybody, it would be really great if you could recommend a show that you like to a friend. That's the way that we're going to spread the word about podcasting. Please, please, please go ahead and do that. This week on Cyrus Says, we have film critic Rajiv Masan. Cyrus and Rajiv discuss films they grew up on, the allure of movie stars, and the bright future of Indian films. On Simplified, Chuck, Naren, and Shrikit tell us about eco-friendly Ganeshas and how Ganpati immersions can be more environmentally friendly. On The Seen and the Unseen, Amit speaks to Yazad Jal, a fellow for economic policy at the Takshashila Institute, about India's ongoing job crisis. On the Pragati podcast, lawyer and policy analyst Amaya Nayak joins Pawan and Hamsini to discuss the Syrian civil war that's killed 500,000 people and displaced more than 10 million Syrians. This week on Paisa Vaisa, Anupam talks to Deepak Shenoy. Deepak's the founder of Capital Mind, and they discuss portfolio management schemes. The Rediscovery Project is coming out with its 4th season. Don't forget to catch Ambika and Hoshna with all new episodes from the 25th of September. And with that, let's go on with the shows.
Hey guys, welcome back. After the break, we are discussing Daniel Sloss's Jigsaw, and Pavitra and I are about to break down. Dude, I'm not kidding.
I mean, it was good.
It was great, Abbas.
was
Stop
great,
it. You know
yeah.
what? For the last 1 week, that's all I've been talking about. Like,
Yeah,
I've been just like, have you
same.
seen it?
Yeah, like ever since you told me that, I'm just like, okay, a guy who's caused 4,000 plus breakups, I have to see this now.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just like,
You've been hounding me to watch this, and I had to watch it last night like homework. But I'm like, oh my god, iske baare mein kal bolna hai. I have to see the show. It was a good show.
enjoyed it,
I
okay? It
I
was
enjoyed it.
important.
I'm not denying that.
There are very few Netflix specials that are like important, okay?
Yeah,
Like, everybody else is like, oh, I'm gonna crack some jokes.
No, but okay. So
Again, I feel like, sorry to interrupt you.
Sure.
No, but like, I got off the whole, like, The Net was the last special I watched.
Yeah.
Because it was super, like, again, important.
Yeah.
But a bunch of these Netflix specials, I feel like, is super passive. I can't sit down and watch, like, an hour of
Hour.
comedy about your personal life experiences. But, like, this
Exactly.
one gave me, like, an insight I'll never forget. Like,
Yeah.
this analogy about jigsaws.
yeah. I mean, his entire show, he's just like he's comparing everything, like even about how he's like, when I did my first show, I was like, okay, this is good, but when I do my second show, I want it to be better than my first show. And then he compares that to how parents, think about their kids. And he's like, well, my first kid, yeah, great. The second kid needs to be better. So he's just doing that throughout his show. He's just like comparing his show to life, his life to show, and he's just going back and forth. And you're just like, stop messing with my brain,
I
Daniel.
know.
Like, it's too
So,
much.
damn it,
fun.
Daniel, back at it again with the damn jokes. Sorry, Bas, you were saying something?
I actually forgot what I was saying. But I mean, of course, I mean, he's got a very, like he said, so he has 2 specials out. The first one is Dark, the other is Jigsaw.
Yeah.
So on Dark, he actually says that he has some very strong opinions about things, which is why sometimes it makes people a little uncomfortable. And yeah, I mean, I'm not denying the fact that the analogies that he gives and the sort of at one point, like I was actually, because all 3 of us here are comics also, whenever I see a video, I've subconsciously try and time after how many seconds is he getting every laugh, right?
Yeah.
Like he's got to laugh every 40
yeah,
seconds or every
yeah.
30, and there is one part of the show where he's almost not got a laugh for about one and a half minutes
But you're
straight.
so engaged.
But you're so engaged in what
Yeah.
he's saying, right? So that ability to keep a hold on
That's
an audience
true.
for that long
It's
is
so
is
tough,
amazing.
It
because
is.
I want to do this kind of humor where I'm just telling a story, because I love storytelling. Like, that's usually what I do, like, whenever I meet friends. But on stage, I'm so uncomfortable not getting a laugh continuously. Also, I'm such a great comic. I usually get laughs, and then I'm just like, I'm not used to this. No, but yeah, so it's just really difficult to, like, hold on to. And he addresses it, like, in the special.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, my
He
agent
says,
is like, can
"Patient
you
told me."
get rid of that sad part? And he's like,
It's
it's
like, yeah, my show.
yeah, it's really funny.
That is
So-
true about how uncomfortable we get generally,
Yeah.
like by. And it was so real though. Like, it wasn't even like the superficial, like a top-down view. It was like he was getting into the
real crux of it.
crux of
Yeah, he was brutally honest, and he was so sure he's right about it. So even though he may not be right about certain things, which I don't think he is not, I think I agree with almost everything he said. So I just felt that the confidence with which, like, he was speaking, and he was so sure about it, that you will start questioning things in your life. And I think that's very important when you're trying to put a point across and change lives and give people some insight. You need to have that confidence in you, because no one's going to, like, believe you otherwise.
Exactly. You know, again, like a lot of he's 28. And to like feel and to just the idea that he's confident in himself, and like his analogy, like, you know, whatever I believe in, maybe you guys should also listen to it. Like again, like I'll come up with something stupid and be like, oh, who cares about this?
Yeah, like, we'll just throw it away. We'll just be like, you know, I think it's something like that. Do you also feel it? Like, we are seeking for validation from another person, and that's the thing. So he also mentioned that you know, that when he had this idea, and like he discussed this with his friends who were in relationships, and he got his validation. So he's so honest about the whole process of which he, like, it took him to, like, you know, come up with this special, that he's gone through the stages of like, you know, whatever, like trying material out and people seeing how it's affecting. And also he wants the validation via people like messaging him after the special, like just knowing how that impacted the relationship. So he's looking for feedback. He's being real about it. He's just not like, I'm this egoistic asshole that I'm right about things. I don't need your validation. Like, no, I want your validation. But I know I'm right. But I want to know if you also think I'm right. Like, he's honest about it, which is just amazing.
I think that why we feel that he really believes what he says, or he says it, whatever he's saying is right. I think kind of comes from while ending the show, where he says that in order to be in a relationship, you have to love 100% of who you are.
Oh man,
right? And I think that's because that's where it's coming from. He believes what he says is true because he believes in himself and he loves himself 100%. So, and if I love myself 100%, why wouldn't I believe what I'm saying? And once you commit to what you're saying, then the person watching you is also like, I think he makes sense.
That's true. You know what? Again, like, that just makes me think about how it's not just about, like, you know, like, again, it tells you about how relationships are fragile and like how you should not like just fall in love with a person, but also tells you to love yourself. Like, self-love is important. Love yourself 100%.
Yeah, so that's so there's this whole part where he's like, that if you you know, he's going up, he's like, okay, you know, you need to be single. It's important to be single because you need to love yourself. You need to understand that. Then someone else can love you. And if you love yourself 100%, other people can love you more than 100. Don't love yourself 20 and get a 30%.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, there I got comfortable at that part of the thing. I'm like, I'm single because I love myself and I know I'm not going to settle for less. So I got comfortable and I started using this as an excuse for being single. I'm like, you know what? I love myself. I don't need anyone. I'm independent, blah, blah, blah. And maybe 60% of it is true, but I started using this as an excuse to stay single. Which later on in the special, he goes on to say that, you know, when he's talking about his jigsaw, when you think your jigsaw is perfect, when you think you found the correct centerpiece, when someone possibly, like, who's a potential partner is passing away, you're just like, don't my puzzle. Like, don't come in. So I realize I'm also being that person. So it's just like, you know, he won't let you find loopholes, which is his entire special is like, you know, you're going to be like, oh, I found my escape mechanism through this one thing that he's saying. And then 7 minutes later into the special, he's addressing that. And I'm like, you can't think of all scenarios possible, okay? Like, that's not fair, because how am I going to explain it to my brain and sleep at night, you know? So I like how he does that. And he's covered every scenario possible. It's
Dude, that's it's actually very like poignant about how he tells you like, hey, you can't like
Yeah.
because you can't become protective of this, like this is my life now, you don't come near me.
Yeah, like you don't stop at being perfect. Like things will change, and you need to be ready to like let go of some jigsaw pieces and let other jigsaw pieces come in and fit.
Which is also another part I really liked, where he says that you can't try to fit like a jigsaw puzzle that does not fit. Like you can't jam it in your this thing because it does not belong there.
Yeah, that's so
That was
true.
also super.
Yeah.
There are parts though where he acts very cocky and a complete asshole, but I think he pulls it off. And this is just my opinion. I think he pulls it off because of the way he looks. Because, so for example, I was comparing to other comics who do whatever edgy, cocky stuff where they're like, this is my opinion and you all, you know that.
Yeah.
If you think someone like Anthony Jeselnik or someone who looks really good and still does kind of dark humor, but then he revels in the fact that I'm so awesome. Whereas Daniel Sloss does a lot of cocky and material where he comes across as an asshole, but he keeps addressing it, and he doesn't look like someone who will be rude to you. He looks like someone who like, I'll just come here, drop some truth bombs and just awkwardly walk away, you know.
Yeah, but I think that's also because he is also giving us a lot of information from his personal life.
Yeah.
So he's bringing his vulnerable side forward. So he kind of explains the source to his like darkness, the source to his insecurities, and he's not at all ashamed. He's like openly, like he's like, I was a very insecure boyfriend and my girlfriend knew that, and she whatever took advantage of it. Whatever, like he mentions everything in detail. My parents were f***ed up, that's why my sense of humor is f***ed up, which is so important. I'm so glad my parents are f***ed up. I would have been a funny person, but like relating like at different levels. So, and like he knows when he's being an asshole and he knows when he's not, and he's like, again, he addresses everything, he acknowledges it, which I think the first step is acknowledgement. So like you're like, this guy knows, like I don't need to tell him, because you know usually in other specials people are like, you are an asshole, because here you can't say that, because he'll be like, I agree, I just said the same thing, we're on the same team, buddy. So you don't really have anything to like give feedback to him.
I love the part where when he starts talking about his ex and he's like,
I just remember that.
most stupid person I've ever met, vegan. Now the first 20 minutes make sense, don't they? Like, oh my God.
The call.
Remember the part where he was like, don't you ever, and then it's like when you were like in a relationship and you're just like, how do I tell this person that I can't physically do
just
this?
waiting for them
you
to
just
die.
wait, and that is so true. I'd rather have this like a natural disaster or like a lightning just strike on this specific person, so I don't have to break up with them. Like, alright, I guess you're dead. So
I think this kind of works like even with like normal people in your life. It doesn't even have to be a partner. I think you're just like, sometimes you're just like, I mean, this person is nice, but they're so boring.
Oh my God. You can't confront them, so you just hope they move to another country.
You're like just like the internet is down so that we cannot contact each other the entire day, or you fall ill or I fall ill.
Yeah,
so
or one of them gets a boyfriend and they never talk to you
ever again.
Oh my God, you guys have had dark thoughts.
Dark. Pavitra and Surbhi, and his special is darker.
Yeah, darker.
But I also love that part where he says that he's not against true love.
Yeah.
Like he says, I do not despise true love. I want to be a father. I want to like...
Yeah,
you know.
I was so attracted to him in that moment when he said, I really want to be a father.
Just have babies with me.
No, it's just, I don't know, you know, when I see like men holding babies and being cute with them, I'm just like, something is happening.
Don't ask me what, but there is something happening.
Yeah, something is happening. And then he said, and I imagined him as a father playing with his kids in the park. I'm like, what is this view like of his life that I'm having, you know?
Shit, dude, now I instantly want to follow him on Instagram and just wait for him to get like a baby.
Yeah.
He should maybe probably do like another special which is holding a baby.
Yeah.
I'd watch it.
God.
He's just holding the baby throughout without addressing it. It's like
1 hour of that.
Yeah, but he mentions that he just is not against true love, but the worst thing you can do to yourself is like be with the wrong person. And that's also like super like like it's so like it hits you.
Yeah, there's like
it's very simple.
It is, but I think that was his whole point, where he says that he's not against the fact that you will find true love, but given the fact that there are 7 point whatever billion people and you found someone 20 miles from where you live, how convenient is that's true love. So again, and he also says later on that you should question everything. So I think he is very cynical with love in his mind, where he's like, maybe I found the right person, but is it really the right person? And which is why he'll keep, or he wants
there's a better
people
person out there, but I just settled for this one, and I think this is the best I've met so far. So yeah,
I feel like there's no conclusion. Like when I was
which is why he says that he's definitely going to die single, because he'll keep questioning that true love again and again, and come to the conclusion that no, I don't. There's definitely something or someone other than this who I'm meant for.
I was super uncomfortable by the end of it. Because again, I was watching it alone. I had nobody to talk to about it. But he also had this part where he's like, if you're watching this with your partner and you're not laughing,
you better start laughing.
Yeah, you better start laughing right now.
The awkward car ride back home.
It was so real again. Because it was awkward. Like, I have recommended it to other people, and I've also recommended to this person. I'm like, dating
but
right
did
now.
you, I mean, you can choose not to answer this question, but did you feel like breaking up after watching that special?
Okay, I did not feel like breaking up instantly, but I had a lot of thoughts about how I do not love myself enough, and which is why anything feels great. I'm like, it's like I need to love myself 100%, and which is why again
that's the whole thing. So a lot of people will get into watching it because they want to see the whole relationship bit, but they actually go back taking something totally different.
Right.
Like I was watching it for the whole relationship bit, and I'm just like, oh, which of my friends should break up? Just being funny about it. But I ended up taking the whole, that I'm too comfortable being single, and I'm just not letting anyone enter my Jigsaw because I'm very obsessed with it being perfect.
Right.
So, I mean, I just took a very different takeaway from it. Because when she told me about it, I was watching with a completely different intention. So I think that is beautiful, because she was also watching it with respect to relationships, and she's she feels she needs to work on loving herself more. What did you take back from it?
I mean, I think so. When he brings back the analogy, so essentially the analogy he gives is, according to his dad, you have the 4 corners of a jigsaw. Your life is a jigsaw puzzle. You have 4 corners. You have friends, family, job, hobbies, and the centerpiece is the person who completes you. But then he says that his dad, what he was trying to say is, your centerpiece is what makes you happy. And in his case, it just happened to be his wife, the person he loves. He thinks she completes him. So I think that was a very poignant point, that centerpiece is what makes you happy, what really satisfies you. It may be some other person, it may not be a person, it may be something else, but because this idea has been ingrained in us that you'll find your soulmate and then your life will be complete. And when he says that you've essentially outsourced loving yourself to someone else, I just made a Scottish accent into
that's a very confusing accent.
I'll just say it in my normal life. He says you've outsourced your loving yourself to someone else, whereas you should be doing that yourself.
Oh, man.
So that was a very, very
these are just
poignant thing.
he said it, but it takes you years to finally work on yourself and be this emotionally independent person.
Yeah, and I think the fact that he's, again, I'm assuming this because he was 26 when he recorded this special. I think he's kind of realized that at such a young age, because he talks a lot about his sister who passed away in the first special. So I think to experience that loss, and I think again the way he's been brought up by his parents, when they didn't let the traditional emotions set in, they always made him question and
also
the emotions.
Very important thing that he said, which I think from Dark, that really stuck with me, was that the opposite of sadness is happiness. It's not laughter.
Right.
So when you're laughing in
That is so
misery and
true.
tragedy, you're not trying not to be sad. You're just trying to give yourself that moment of relief to make yourself just relax and not feel so much pain. So he's just for all of you guys taking offense to me making jokes about my dead sister, the way he's just it's all me. It's me, my story, my dead story, my dead sister, my joke, and you are taking offense, and all I'm doing is just finding a moment of relief, and you are making it about that, oh, he's probably happy that his sister died, how can he speak like that? It's that's why the opposite of sadness is happiness. It's not laughter. Laughter is just a coping mechanism.
That is so true, because you remember in school when you didn't do the homework and the teacher came that's a moment of tension. You're gonna get screwed, but for some reason you laugh with your friends and like, oh shit, I'm gonna get caught. I'm gonna get. Just because you're trying to diffuse the tension, you're trying to laugh because it's a situation you want to get out of, and that is so true. Like you laugh in the most unsuitable situations because you want to diffuse the tension.
It's hilarious because I remember like one of my friends, when she lost her parents, I called her up and I'm like, I'm sorry for your loss and this and that. She's like, if you want to be sorry, you should be sorry about all these aunties who are kissing me and giving me wet kisses and hugging me so tight. I'm really uncomfortable. And I was just like, oh my god, thank god you made the first joke, because now I can just be myself, because I was so awkward and I was like, how do I deal with this, and how do I show this person I care and everything. And she said this and I'm like, I was dying. I was just like, do you want to get on stage? It's too funny. Like, so it's a beautiful coping
it's a very good
mechanism.
sentence actually, that laughter isn't the opposite of sad, the opposite of
happiness isn't the opposite of sadness.
Laughter isn't the opposite of sadness. Happiness is.
Man, that says a lot. I feel like I would generally just recommend Daniel Sloss as a person.
Oh my god,
good human being.
Great potential future father.
Oh man. And again, if he's listening, please do your next special holding a baby throughout.
Yeah, please.
Oh man, dude, honest, his Twitter is full of people just telling him, oh, I broke up because of you, and 4,300 couples have broken up after this.
Yeah, and none of them, they're not spiteful messages. They're just like, thanks, So it comes out of this very positive place where there's a realization, and you're like, thank you for making me realize, and not like, why did you do this to my life?
True.
So, which is so like, I don't know,
which
like
is just helpful.
Like you're taking a step which is going to change your life, but it's for the better. And like even the way he talks about tragedy, like how when he broke up with his girlfriend, there was that immense happiness, and he's like, you just break up just so that you get that happiness, and 5 minutes later he's like, everything sets in. So he's being so realistic. So like so he's like, there is that relief. Obviously you have to like mull over it, you have to feel sad about it so that you move on, and like you're done, dusted, you've whatever thought as much as you can, you've exhausted that thought so that you can let it go, but like that is just like amazing.
It just makes me so happy that we have some of the content out there. Like it's really important, and we should just be watching it.
Also, even like as a comic, when he addresses the whole people taking offense to that part, like I'm just like, this is exactly what I wanted to say, but I didn't have the right words to put it across.
That's true.
Like he just does it so beautifully. Like he's just like, you take offense to the part that affects your life. So if you're getting offended by one of my jokes, please get offended by everything, because then you should take offense on behalf of everyone. If you're such a great person and such a nice person, it just makes you realize how narcissistic and how self-obsessed our generation is, that we'll only if it concerns to us, that's where we take offense. Baki sab chalo chodo whatever. So and the whole interpretation of art bit. Like,
the two non-relationship bits that I found hilarious was, one was the whole Jackson Pollock painting that he does, and the other was please shave your asshole. That was hilarious.
Oh man, that is also something that stays with me.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The way he yelled at the audience. I died. Like I actually laughed out loud out there, because throughout I'm just like trying to get what this person is trying to say and like look into my soul, and this part was like this shit, like
like all the men who just bailed on me. Like, no, I see you.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious.
Alright kids, I feel like this time to wrap up. We're really in love with Daniel Sloss. We're all like on the same side of the story. Daniel Club. So if you haven't watched it yet, please watch both of his specials, Dark and Jigsaw. They're both great. They will
also executive produced by Conan O'Brien, guys. One of my favorite guys.
I feel like he also like promoted his show on his Twitter, which is kind of
he did, and Daniel Sloss has been on Conan a bunch of times to do the 5-minute sets, and I was actually watching some of those, and you'll always see the audience isn't gelling with him on those stand-up.
Because it takes an hour.
But on the special he's amazing. So
that's amazing. Okay, cool. Guys, check this out on Netflix. You can also follow him on Twitter and find out all the people he's responsible to. So also, if you are in a fragile relationship,
Yeah.
maybe watch it with your partner. And like then you both have the same
Same
view.
view,
It's not like
yeah.
one person suddenly like, I'm out of love.
Yeah, you're just like together and you're
Together.
high-fiving and breaking up. Like,
You're like crying
fun
halfway through the special. Thank you, Pavitra. Thank you for being on this episode.
Surbhi,
What are you
for
doing
calling me.
recently? Are you performing somewhere?
Yeah, I'm actually performing on all days next week.
What are your
Mostly,
regular haunts? What do you?
Like, so the Integral Space, there's Habitat, there's Little Easy, there's a show happening next
Nice.
week. There's Hopipola.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's-
just go anywhere, guys. There's
I'll be
a
there.
chance Pavitra will be there.
I'll be sitting at the table right
sitting
next
there.
to you, cracking jokes.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's really easy to find Pavitra. You can find her and you can watch her. She's really funny.
I'll be there in Daniel Sloss's comments section. I'm everywhere.
Where can we reach out to you on social media?
Oh yeah, so I have a Facebook page.
Nice.
It's called Pavitra Shetty, and I have a Twitter account which is Pavi
__
Shetty. PAVIE. Not trying to sound cute. I didn't get PAVI. And
I was thinking
Pavi2121.
PERVY.
Oh, pervy,
shit.
I've got that. I've got that before. But I'm not a pervy person, so I'm just like,
you're
you know
not.
what? I'm just not going to go for the pun and all. I'll be a sellout.
It's almost irritating how non-pervy Pavitra is.
I know, right?
It's like,
Yeah. Purest.
So clean.
hell.
Oh my
all
god.
right, Abbas, where do we reach out?
Yeah, you can reach out to me on Twitter as well. My Twitter handle is @AbbasMomin. I'm AbbasMomin88 on Instagram, and even I have a Facebook page called Abbas Momin. It just has 107 likes, so please go and make it go up, guys. One day I will also open for Daniel Sloss.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
nice.
and I will
Ambitious.
close for him.
Oh man,
And just come in the middle, say hi, and go back.
it's like everything sucks.
Just dealing with my divorce and my baby.
You can reach out to me on Twitter at Small Dog Police. I also have a Facebook page. I feel like now that everyone's plugging it, you can like it. It's called Surbhi Bagga. So yeah, thank you for being here. You guys can also reach out to us on IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and let us know what you thought about this episode. Yeah, thank you guys.
Bye-bye.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Who said healthy food is boring? Who said raw veggies is just salads? Who said eating fats makes you fat? Look forward to my recommendations on healthy food and exercise hacks on the Kinetic Living podcast with me, Coach Urmi, every Wednesday on the IVM app, website, and anywhere you get your podcast from.
Hi, my name is Anupam Gupta. I'm B50 on Twitter. I am the host of Paisa Vaisa, the show that talks money. On my show, I speak to experts from every field of money and finance, from stock markets, equities, debt funds, credit cards, life insurance, every possible area of money and finance that you can think of. We even did an episode on cryptocurrency. I've got fantastic guests from mutual funds to personal finance experts everywhere. Robo-advisory, startups, just name it, we've got it. At Paisa Vaisa, we help you make smart decisions about money. You work hard for money. Now make your money work hard for you. New episodes out every Monday, and you can listen to my show on the IVM Podcast app or any other podcasting app that you have.